Every closed door hides a secret. But some secrets leave a trail of blood. I'm Elias Williams. For years, I hunted the truth for the headlines. Now, I dig past the front pages to find what they missed. Welcome to the archive. They say the Arctic doesn't just kill you, it erases you. It's a landscape of absolute white visual silence so profound that the mind begins to invent its own noise just to stay sane. We all remember the footage, the grainy, stuttering resurrection of Elias Williams. Emerging from the bowels of Research Unit 7 like a ghost clawing its way back into the light, he looked less like a man and more like a ruin. The official narrative was a tragedy of clockwork precision. A freak solar flare, a total power failure. 5 brilliant minds trapped in a pressurized tin can, waiting for a warmth that would never come. And then the silence. Elias Williams became the Patron Saint of Survival. He gave us the bestseller. He gave us the interviews. He told us how the others slipped away in their sleep, victims of the creeping cold, leaving him alone to guard their corpses for 48 days. But stories told by survivors are often just structures built to house the truth. And truth, unlike flesh, doesn't rot, it waits. It hides in the one place Williams couldn't reach, the deep, digital frost of the station's backup servers. I am a data archaeologist. I dig through the trash of the information age. Last night, an anonymous link appeared in my inbox. No subject. Just a string of raw, unprocessed binary code from the heart of Unit 7. At first, it looks like noise, corrupted fragments of a dying machine. But as the decryption filter scrubs away the digital soot, a different rhythm emerges. A pattern that shouldn't exist if the power was truly out. You can hear the cold in these logs. You can feel the pressure of the lie. Because as I watch these sensors wake up after 15 years, I realized the Arctic silence wasn't a failure of technology ... It was a choice, and Elias Williams wasn't the only one breathing. The Arctic is a cathedral of white noise. It's a place where the air is so thin and cold it cracks in your lungs ... like frozen silk. But inside Unit 7, the silence was artificial, a digital construct. When I opened the recovery logs, I expected a flat line, a sudden drop to zero. Instead, I found a slow, calculated decay. The station's life support didn't fail. It was being played, like a piano. 5 heartbeats. 5 distinct pulses of electricity in the dark. Elias Williams told the world they died in their sleep during the first night of the blackout. But the data, the cold, unfeeling data says otherwise. One by one, the oxygen levels in the individual sleeping quarters were throttled, not by a storm, by a hand. Someone was siphoning the breath out of their lungs, 1 millibar at a time. ... over the course of 14 agonizing days. This is Mila Volkov, the team's analyst. Her biometric data shows she was awake for the final 72 hours. Imagine the dark, the metal walls groaning under the ice. The sound of your own heart slowing down because the room refuses to feed it. In the metadata of her personal tablet, I found the recordings. Not messages to her family, messages to the station's AI. She knew. She was a mathematician. She understood that the glitches were too precise to be accidental. Her voice sounds like it's coming from the bottom of a well. Someone is breathing my air, she whispers. It's a mathematical impossibility. In a station with limited reserves, every breath Elias took was a breath he stole from her. The digital threat isn't a virus. It's the realization that while the world saw a tragedy, Mila Volkov saw a predator. She spent her last hours watching a cursor move on a screen, controlled by a ghost in the next room. The logs don't show a disaster, they show a harvest. And Elias was the only one left to read. Lying is an act of architecture. You build a wall of words to hide a void. But time is a cruel architect. It withers the stone until the cracks begin to show. We are looking at Unit 7 from 600 miles above. This is the satellite twist. In 2011, the cloud cover was too thick for visual confirmation. But modern reprocessing of thermal signatures tells a story that Elias Williams spent 15 years trying to bury in the snow. He told the investigators the lights went out on the first night. He told them he sat in a frozen tomb, surrounded by the cold remains of his friends. But the heat doesn't lie. The station was warm. The furnace was breathing. We turn our gaze from the stars to the man. Look at his face during the famous 60 Minutes special. Notice the stillness. He's not just mourning, he's performing. He's a man wearing a costume made of grief. Modern micro-expression analysis is a lead detector for the soul. We look for Duper's delight, the involuntary rush of dopamine that comes from successfully deceiving an audience. It's a glitch in the human hardware. There it is, a fraction of a millimeter, a smirk that lasts only 3 frames. When he speaks about the tragedy of being the sole survivor, his body betrays him. It's the pride of a ghost who managed to walk out of the grave. Look back at the thermal data. On day 14, the heat signatures of the others didn't just fade, they were extinguished. One by one, the amber dots vanish, while the central signature, Elias, grows brighter. He wasn't just surviving, he was consuming. The anatomy of his lie is built on the assumption that we would never look back. That the digital footprints he left in the frost would be swept away by the wind, but the data archaeology doesn't forget. He wasn't a martyr of the Arctic, he was its most efficient engine. Money has a specific temperature, it's not the warmth of a hearth. It's the cryogenic burn of a bank vault. We always assumed Elias Williams killed for breath. We were wrong. He killed for a decimal point. The deeper I dig into the station's encrypted subsector, the more I see the shape of the ghost. It's a resource map. Beneath the permafrost of Unit 7 lies a vein of rare earth minerals worth more than the lives of 5 scientists. In the academic world, a discovery belongs to the institution. But there was a clause, a jagged, hidden hook in the contract. If the mission suffered a total catastrophic failure, the intellectual property rights defaulted to the private funder. It was a math problem. If Mila and the others lived, they were pioneers. If they died and only a private contractor remained to claim the find, the wealth shifted hands. Elias wasn't a survivor, he was an auditor. For 15 years, the world has pitied him. And for 15 years, a silent wire transfer has arrived in his account. A survivor's stipend, or perhaps the subscription fee for his silence. The hunt didn't happen in the snow, it happened in the file directories. While the others were trying to fix the heaters, Elias was busy deleting their names from the discovery logs. He was pruning the family tree until only he remained. He didn't just take their heir, he took their legacy. He stripped them of their brilliance and left them to be remembered as the victims, while he walked away with the title of the hero. ... and the keys to the kingdom. This is how the modern world works. We look for monsters in the shadows, but the real predators are in the ledgers. They don't use knives, they use non-disclosure agreements and accidental power surges. It wasn't about the cold, it was about the ownership of the ground beneath their feet. We find him here, at the end of the world he bought with the breath of others. It's a quiet life, a life of soft wool, expensive coffee, and the absolute terrifying peace. Not of a man who has outlived every witness to his shame. He thinks the snow buried the evidence. He thinks the binary rot of 2011 has finally consumed the station's soul. But the digital world is a graveyard that never stops yielding its dead. This is the final ghost. A single image recovered from the deep cache of Mila Volkov's mobile device. It wasn't sent. It couldn't be. The network was dead. But she took it anyway, a message in a bottle made of pixels. Look at her eyes. In the darkness of the sleeping quarters, with the oxygen levels dropping to 0, she turned the camera on herself. Not out of vanity, but out of a desperate, final instinct to document the end. We dive into the reflection, into the wet, curved mirror of a dying woman's cornea. We strip away the noise. We balance the levels. And there, standing in the doorway, bathed in the emergency red light, is a figure. He isn't helping her. He isn't mourning. He is watching. He holds the key like a scepter. In that reflection, we see the true face of the survivor, a man waiting for the air to stop vibrating with his friend's heartbeats. History isn't written by the victors anymore. It's written by the archives we forget to delete. Elias knows this. Look at the way he turns toward his own window now, as if he can feel our gaze through the screen. We are the new architects of his story. We are the ones digging through the digital permafrost. Because in the end, survival isn't about who is strongest. It isn't about who has the thickest coat or the sharpest mind. It's about who controls the archives, and the archives have just been opened. The file is closed for now, but the questions remain. What is your theory? Let me know in the comments below. If you want to step into the shadows with me again, make sure to subscribe. I'm Elias Williams. Trust no one and stay safe. Good night.